we start with a strip show, hey?
Yeah. If you could take your shirt off. Hey,
you show us up, Matty.
Yeah, far out. Let's not get into that. Let's not make it a competition. Jeez. I might just start by getting you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so my name's Matty Abel. I'm based in Sydney. I've been, I guess, in the fitness industry since 2008, predominantly focusing in the gym and personal training environment. In my earlier stages, owning a number of gyms. I sold out of that in about 2012, and around that time, I got a massive passion for trail running, and I started to see a shift in the running marketplace in terms of people wanting to do trail running and explore it a bit more. And I just wanted to help more people get out there and enjoy what I was enjoying. So in around 2012, I started my business called DBARunners, which was predominantly then strength training for runners. Was getting people fit and strong and robust for running. As time went on, around about 2014, 15, I started getting a lot more inquiries about coaching online, and at that time I was using an Excel spreadsheet. There wasn't many online platforms to coach with then. So it was, measuring people's Strava data to an Excel spreadsheet, going back and forth, which was always fun. But now, fast forward to 2020, I'm predominantly online. We do a few group training sessions down here in Manly. And I train people all over the world, from 5K runners, just wanting to be fit, to multi-stage runners doing, is it Alps to Coast in New Zealand?
Alps to Ocean.
Yeah, Alps to Ocean recently. So, yeah, it's fun and I love it, and I love running myself. So I'm really stoked to be able to do what I love.
Yeah, what does the makeup look like for you in terms of, what's the ratio of like PT work versus the running coaching versus rifling through a Mills and Burn versus laying on the beach and sunning yourself? What does a day look like for you?
So I am 100% online now coaching. So a day for me starts, I usually either do yoga or I run in the morning. And then I start online coaching around about 7:30. So I do that Monday to Thursday. And I go from about 7:30 to about 12:30, just programming clients. So within that, it's analysing what they did for the previous week, giving them some feedback, and then programming them for the next kind of 2 weeks if they need any changes within their program. Then I usually have lunch. And then in the afternoons, I've been building an app over the last year, which is called RunHunters. So in the afternoons, I predominantly spend my time building that. And then around about 4, 5 o'clock, usually 5 o'clock, I'll either go for a run if I didn't run in the morning. And then some days I coach a group session in the evening. So that's my day. It's pretty much Monday to Friday, the same every day. I like structure. I love structure. So I try to keep it the same.
What, as a coach and an athlete, have you got any sort of affiliations and sponsors or anything, anyone you need to, shout out, support, say thanks to?
Not these days, not anymore. I've tried to just step away from the sponsorship realm of things. I just don't enjoy some of the pressure that, I guess it's self-pressure, put it on yourself to perform. I start to lose the enjoyment of actually racing and being out into the trails because I thought I had to perform and be this certain person. So now I have no sponsors, and I love just running for enjoyment and doing my best. So no shout outs, just for myself.
So has that changed then, what you're wearing or what you're running in or anything like that since you've dropped sponsorship, or do you still use the brands that supported you?
I still use the brands that support me. Yeah. So my recent one it probably wasn't more of a sponsor. It was more of a job where I was the head coach for Nike in Australia, mainly in Sydney. So, part of that job role was wearing Nike, and I've always worn Nike in that sense. And I still wear their shoes. I still wear their trail shoes. And before that was Salomon. So I still wear Salomon packs mainly for running, and I've still got a few Salomon jackets that I use for trail running. So yeah, what I use hasn't changed. In terms of nutrition, that's always a fun one to try and work out. I can never seem to get it right. So
yeah, that's nutrition's interesting. Sometimes the goalpost shifts. Sometimes it feels like you're playing a completely different sport.
Yeah. Like I used, example, I just did a 30K run on Sunday, and I used Tailwind, and it worked perfect for me. But like my last race, I used Tailwind, and it was shocking. So, and then gels sometimes work perfect for me. So it's just, yeah, having options is key.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the holy grail, isn't it? Trying to get your nutrition right. Like I am so envious of people that can just nail it every time, because yeah, Kerry Iron Gut Suitor over here.
Man, I could eat a bag of wasps and I could run on it. It doesn't worry me. It doesn't matter. I could eat pizza. I could eat gels. You could put gels on the pizza. It doesn't really matter.
I am so not like that. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and one I'm trying to work a lot more on with my clients, because we spend so much time and money on product and training and time in training, and it's nutrition that lets us down most of the time, and we don't put enough focus into it. So over the last year, it's something that I've really been trying to focus on with my clients and myself to get that right.
Yeah, it's a hard one, isn't it? Like you can prime an athlete for, say, Ultra Trail Australia, only to find out on race day that they, halfway up Nelly's Glen, they threw up all over themselves and they were out by the aquatic centre. And you're like, but you were in the best shape of your life. I don't know how we got this wrong. And it was just like, it was almost like it's unforeseen. But what are the mitigations you put in place? What do you do for an athlete to help prevent that relatively common DNF due to gastrointestinal disorders?
Yeah, well, it's the biggest thing is well, from what I've found is practicing it as much as you can in training. I don't think we practice that enough in training in terms of, loading the body up with taking gels. Most of us, we might only run a couple of hours, and we might not take as many gels during that time. So it's kind of like an overload of the system. Same with hydration. But what I've found with a lot of people is they change their nutrition quite a bit as they get closer to the race. But also, they might change it during the race and they're just not ready for that. It's something I haven't studied, and I need to put a lot more time in it. And of late, it's something I've been really pushing over to a nutritionist we work with, because it kind of steps out of my region in terms of what I've studied, and I'm only basing off my own experiences.
That's a good call as a coach, to acknowledge that something's outside of your core specialty. Coaches, the primary job is to, we assign work and we measure athletes' response to it, and we're always dialing, up or down accordingly the workload and effort. But then, by the same token, we're like armchair physios, mitigating running niggles. We're unqualified dietitians giving advice on, what to eat and when and how much. And the sphere of what we cover as coaches is so wide, but the core components of what we do, you have to be big enough to say, that's outside of my specialty, and here are the people you need to speak to.
Yeah, definitely. And what I've found is with those who have gone to those specialists, being a nutritionist, have got phenomenal results. So it's worth the small investment in getting the right advice.
Oh, game changer. Yeah, you imagine a couple of consultations with a qualified sports dietitian, might cost you a couple of $100, but then your race entry and your training and your shoes and all your equipment, like your thousands of dollars. And you've got one foot on the banana peel going into the race because you have no idea what to do with your nutrition, and you're just going to drink from whatever's at the aid stations.
It's funny though, because people wouldn't bat an eyelid about paying a couple of $100 for some shoes, but you ask them to pay that for a dietitian, it would probably be a different story.
Yeah. And it's the number one, I guess, I don't know the stats on this, but the number one cause of DNFs.
Yeah.
Yeah, high. It's high. I think
high.
It was initially reported at something like 50% in the States, but I think a bit of that was Marty Hoffman observing Western states, and you've got quite a lot of factors there. I think GI distress ramps up with the duration of the run and temperature and intensity. All of these variables affect it. So it's potentially a little bit less. I'd love to see some numbers come out of UTA, but it would take the athletes to respond in a survey as to why they DNF'd.
Yeah, definitely. That would be interesting. It's something we can all work on.
Definitely. Speaking of working on, you're known for being a bit of a buff coach, really, and into your strength work and stuff. So, I'd love to hear what you feel the value of strength work is and how it works for you and your clients.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I actually don't do that much strength. I grew up in the surf life saving world where we did a lot of swimming, board paddling, and kayaking, and I did that for a good part of 20 years of my life, or probably less than that, 15 years. So I think just genetically how I was built was I just had a bigger upper body from all that paddling, swimming. So my shape, I actually do minimal, real minimal upper body strength. It shocks some people, but I can't shed it. I sit around 82 to 83 kilos, and it doesn't matter if I run 30 Ks a week for a few weeks or I run 100 Ks. It just stays like that. I might need to go into a concentration camp or something like that. But
no, maybe you need to have dinner with Dave Byrne. I feel like we've bookended the Trail and Ultras coaches corner here with was he like a sprightly 50 kegs and you're over 80?
What was his heaviest?
Man,
it was 60 something.
And a strong wind, he needs to anchor himself to you.
Well, I remember running down in the UTA 22 a few years back with Dave Byrne on one side and Brendan Davies on the other side, just going. The force I'm putting through the ground is nearly triple what they're doing, and how's that going to impact the rest of my race? That's what I was thinking.
I remember that race. You guys were pulling flat threes down Kadumba. That was some incredible stuff. But you've got to look at the positive in it, mate. You had a lot more potential energy.
Yes, definitely. Yep. So, but that's referring back to your question on strength training, I think it's extremely important, especially for trail runners, endurance runners, because the time to fatigue is increased. Time to fatigue is increased. That's right. So you can run further for longer, faster for longer. Your injury risk is reduced significantly. And predominantly when you're running, you're going to be a lot more stable through that midsection. So we do a lot of hip and core work with my runners to make sure that our pillar, which I call the midsection, is nice and strong, and it's not like a building that's got a weak pillar that's going to be swaying. So the more you're swaying in that middle section, the more energy you're using to try and correct that up. So we do anywhere between predominantly 2 strength sessions a week with my clients, and I've found over a period of time they get much better results consistently. So they're not getting injured, they're able to perform, and they get to do what they love to do. So.
The core work's an interesting one. And before we started the Trail and Ultra Coaches Corner, you remember we got everyone on a conference call and just sort of said let's try and centralize our support. So as coaches, we're not split all over the internet trying to help every single group in the world. We'll just try and put qualified information in the one area. And one of the things we said, I think, was that look, we've disagreed on things in the past as coaches, but we fundamentally will agree on like 95% of everything that it takes to develop an athlete. And interestingly, and surprisingly, that core work discussion is something that sits in that 5%, where some running coaches will say not relevant, and some running coaches will say, incredibly useful for stability and endurance. And you're in that 5%.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess it's what your perception of core work is. A lot of people will just think it's sit-ups and planks. For me as a runner, that's not core work. Putting your spine and in the front of your body into flexion and constantly doing sit-ups is not going to help your running movement. And working like an exercise, which we can probably put in a link in there, like bird dog or dead bug, which is going to use core and coordination, and that's what you need for when you're running. So
Ali's laughing because for the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks of lockdown, we've had a squad wad every morning and got everyone online and done sort of 10 to 15 minutes of in-lounge shred.
And guess which exercise we've debated?
Look, I think everyone is a little bit gun-shy, the stuff that hurts them. They're always like, don't give me the Bulgarian chair lunges. And
Yeah. They're the worst. I hate those ones.
Me too. So you reckon dead bug and bird dog are the go-tos?
Yeah, definitely. Anything that's going to be like our body works in cross links. So what's happening on your left glute is happening to your right kind of shoulder.
Nice.
So, when you're running, that's what's happening. So you got to do that in your training. Andy Dwyer does a great job of this with working he does a completely different style of core training, but it's very similar in terms of training those cross links. And we've probably got our own views on those sort of things, but it still works in those cross link strength patterns.
No, we're back into the 95% that we all agree upon. I think it's a good one, and it's good hearing you say that. I mean, here's a guy who really understands his physiology, talking about that. How the body operates across its axis like that, particularly in a movement where you've got your left shoulder forward and your right hip and leg behind you. So
yeah, definitely. It's important.
What would you say are some of the most common mistakes you see with runners or people getting into running?
Probably the biggest one is most people will think to get faster and they need to run faster more often. They just don't understand that your aerobic capacity dictates your anaerobic capacity. So the more slower running you've done over a period of time, the more that's going to enhance your anaerobic work. So a lot of people will just go out and do hard running, thinking that's going to get them faster. So just educating them in slow is fast, especially with their programming. A lot of people come to us, you probably get this as well, I want to run UTA in 7 weeks, 9 weeks, UTA 100, and you're like, crikey, okay. We can do our best. But generally speaking, you need a good, sometimes 12-month stint to get ready for UTA 100 to do a good job.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I always say I think the best time to start training for an ultra is now, because the longer that you've got to condition your body, the better prepared you will be. But it's a hard one because people obviously go, oh, you're a running coach, so it's in your best interest. But it's actually in their best interest.
Yeah, I was actually reading a book the other day, just behind me, on how to train someone for a marathon, and they were suggesting in the book, it's called The Law of Running.
Noakes, good one.
Yeah, Noakes, Tim Noakes. I think it was like 42 weeks to get prepared for a marathon for someone who's just starting. And the problem we live in now is we live in such an instant world that people want their results tomorrow. And it's just educating them on how to go a bit slower in the process of running to get those great results. You look at guys like Dave Burns and Benson Lawrence, who are probably some of our Australia's best runners. They've been running for a good part of 30 plus years. Their engine's huge. When some people have only just done a year of running and want to perform the same.
Yeah, it's a hard one to get into those people's minds. Like we did a tour, was it last year, for Ring of Fire, going around the country, and people were going, like, when should I do my next ultra after I do this one? And I'm like, give it space. And they're like, but Lucy Bartholomew does one like a couple of weeks later. I'm like, yeah, but Lucy's, 8 years deep into her running career, and she's got a way higher training volume than you. So it's a hard one though to try and, people think that we should be the same, or doing the same training load or having the same recovery time, and it's not the same.
Yeah, and it comes down to, Lucy isn't working, to my understanding. She's a lot younger. She has time to recover. She has time to fuel herself. She's not, going back to 3 kids and a stressful job and sitting down for 8 hours and sleeping 5 hours a day.
Yeah. So, other than Ash can be a bit of a child at times, but
yeah. So there's a massive difference in terms, and that's where one size generally doesn't fit all.
No.
My lifestyle is completely different to everyone else's, and coaching starts to become a bit of an art.
So I was going to ask you the science versus art question that I asked Dave. So, what are your thoughts on that? Like what for you as a coach, how do you see things? Are you more science or art, or what's your kind of combination?
Yeah, funny enough, I pulled that from a client who said it to me yesterday. She's just started online coaching and using Training Peaks, and I give a bit of mentoring, and she's getting real caught up in the stats and the graphs. She's just done a level 2 Training Peaks qualification, and she just wants to know all about these stats. And I was saying, the stats are great, but stats don't know that COVID is on at the moment. You just, your job's on the line. You've got 3 kids, and like I said, you're sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night. So science does play a big element, but it's also massively an art as well. Understanding that everyone's different. Everyone's got different training history. People respond different to different sessions. It's definitely an art, I think. What did Dave say?
Dave was actually quite into the art side of things too. Like he said that he understands the science because he's kind of, this is me paraphrasing, obviously, that he understands the science because he's gone through that whole process. And so he was quite, I was quite surprised. I thought Dave would be more of a science focused kind of a guy, but no, he was an art one as well.
Yeah. I think it comes down to the athlete, the person who you're coaching. It might be a bit more science-based if you're coaching, someone for the Olympics, where you're taking and analysing a lot of data and you can control a lot of external factors.
Yes.
But with the everyday person, you use some science and then a little bit of art.
Yeah, it's got to be a balance. How would, you've kind of done the gambit here, in the last decade, you've been a great athlete, and, you are still definitely a capable athlete, also a more qualified coach. As a young guy, a decade is a long time in the business by our standards. There wasn't a lot of trail running in 2010. There's a lot more now, and you've probably come a long way. How would you describe your coaching style at present?
It's been an interesting journey going through it all. I remember I was not young, but a bit naive when I first started. Thought I knew everything, as we always do. Thought I could race faster than Killian in 2011 the North Face, which was, an interesting shock. But as a coach, I guess it's over the years, it's becoming... The coaching role is becoming a little bit different. Working with the person a lot more. Like I said, it's a bit more of an art. I want to say I'm different now. I like to educate my clients a lot more along the journey. I'm always sending them articles or sending them what I'm learning, and then I prompt questions to them as well. I ask them what they think about it. And then see what their answers are, and then I can dictate what I'm going to coach them moving forward. So, I predominantly prompt a lot of questions, especially in initial stages when a client first start up. I like to understand where their head's at as what they think running coaching is, or how to train for a running event. and then input my knowledge onto them.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if that answered the question, but
I think it's a good answer. I think that, you know, we always say coaching is a two-way street. I don't want somebody who's just going to do exactly what I tell them. I want them to feed back and feed forward so that we get things right, because there's no point, you know, just giving work and then someone goes out and does it and gets injured. I'd rather that they say, hey, things aren't great today. I haven't slept last night, or, you know. So I think
definitely.
Yeah, you're right. I'm curious because I'm guessing over your years coaching that obviously the interaction has changed with the increase in technology. How do you manage so I think you've kind of answered it earlier, actually, saying that you have a really structured routine, but like, how do you manage that kind of online relationship and the timings and the interactions?
Yeah, this is one I've been working on a lot over the last year or two, because it's easy to offer a lot of help, but at the same time, you're not charging much in the big scheme of things. You know, for some clients, I really draw the line, or I guess educate the line on the boundaries on how much time I can actually give per week to that person for what they're paying for. Because at the end of the day, I'm running a business, and once they start to understand that, they get what the line is. Where I've drawn the line, because, you know, if you spend 2 hours with a client and you're better off working at McDonald's, to be honest. You know, and you know, like, that's not a profitable business. At the end of the day, we're all running a business, and we need to make sure that business is profitable for us to stay in business, feed ourselves, but also continue coaching them. You know, if the business is not profitable, I won't be able to do this, and then they won't be able to have the coaching that I give them. So it's drawing that line, especially when they first sign up as a new client, and educating them on when they're going to hear from me, what they can expect from me each week, but also what I expect from them. It's got to be a two-way street, like you said. So if I've got a client scheduled in on a Tuesday, they've got to message me on a Monday with a bit of a weekly update.
Great.
Because there's nothing worse for me getting to a Tuesday, writing their program, sending it to them, and then they're going, oh, no, I can't do that this week. And then I've got to go back and redo it. So, it becomes part of their weekly adherence as well. And then I think as well, we spoke before about, I guess, what was it we always speak about? Oh, yeah, passing it on to a nutritionist. You know, I'm also not scared anymore to fire a client if they're not adhering to what I'm doing. You know, like, I'm in a position now where I don't need to be stressed or be stressed about coaching. And if I'm not enjoying it and the client isn't listening to, you know, my coaching philosophies or how I coach, I would much prefer them train with someone else and get great results and actually enjoy what they're doing, and have less stress on me, because at the end of the day, I want to live a happy life. I want to enjoy what I do, and the money, it's not it's not worth it for me. So if a client, I've had many of those conversations where I just suggest them, like, this, I don't think my training is working for us, for you. And there's many coaches out there, and I suggest a few coaches that I suggest that might work for them. And they either then go, oh, sorry, like, I've been so stressed with work and it just hasn't working, and I haven't got back to you, and I'm sorry. And then it's kind of like just a real kickstart for them. And then they really adhere to what you're doing. Or they go, you're right, this style of coaching doesn't work for me. I'm looking for more of a group coaching environment. I need that bit more one-on-one, or that more group accountability. And then I go, well, this person's probably best for you to train with. So, I think that's been an interesting journey, but one that I'm quite proud of, because I know, especially in the PT world, most people won't speak up. And then that client is just wasting their money and not getting results. And I'd rather them get results.
On a positive note, though, you must see it the other way every now and again, where you're like, you know, you're working with some clients, then they're just beautiful students of the sport. You know, you give them, you know, a bowl and they eat everything and lick the bowl and everything is done. And you're like, holy shit, you know, you've done the research, you followed everything I said, and we're starting to see really great results from it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I've had one guy, he's just recently started, you know, and he's in his late 50s, and we've gone from a 24:59 5K to a 22. What was it? I wrote it down today. He's gone down to 24:59 down to a 22:33.
Nice.
You know, and he's like my age student, and I use him for all my examples here at the moment. And you know, he's a client that I do actually a little bit less to get more results. You know, for his age, if I do a little bit more, it's probably going to tether on getting him injured. So at the moment, we're doing a little bit less than most, and he's getting phenomenal results, improving all the time. So yeah, there's stacks of those A+ students.
Yeah, feels good, eh? Like when they get a good time, and I know they stop the watch and they feel great, and then you get that feeling as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's been fun seeing him progress so much over the last 4 months.
Yeah.
Than that, yeah.
You talk about, I mean, obviously, you know, it's hard being a coach, the financial viability of doing this profession. You know, you're 10 years in the game, you are a professional, it's your full-time job. And, you know, your hourly rates don't stack up versus, you know, a barely qualified plumber who would show up at your house and charge 3 times as much per hour as you would as a professional. But, you know, a lot of what we do is because we love it, right? We exist in a recreational environment, you know, with people that are excited about being here.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing is having the ability to change someone's life through doing what we do. You know, I actually just had a client that was with me a few years back, and I introduced her into Pilates. I was like, I think you should do Pilates. Like, you don't like strength training. I think you should really enjoy it. And I actually last night was looking on her Instagram profile, and I saw she's a Pilates teacher now. And I was like, reached out to her. I'm like, are you a Pilates teacher now? She goes, oh my God, you changed my life. Like, this is what I do for work now. And it was like, I only trained her for like a real short period of time because she moved to Melbourne, and it was when I was doing one-on-one. And yeah, it was like a real, like maybe a month I trained her for, but yeah, just that small time frame, I had a huge impact. And yeah, just having the ability to change people's lives through running, I think, I'd rather do that than plumbing or something else. Like, I was a mechanic before this, so yeah.
Oh, that explains all the Instagram photos of you in front of cars.
Yeah.
What are we driving at the moment, Matty?
Oh, I've actually got a Mazda 3, but I'm looking to buy I hope my goal at the moment is to get a Ford Wild Track, which is kind of like a Toyota Hilux.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want
the Ranger.
Yeah, the Ranger. That's it.
Man, they're the #1 selling vehicle in New Zealand, eh?
Yeah, they're huge. I want a pop top roof, and I want to travel a bit more of Australia, and do some running around Australia.
Man, New South Wales is white Hiluxes, bro. You can't go you don't swim against the flow, man. You can't buy a Ford Ranger. You've got to have a white Hilux.
Yeah. They're everywhere. So they actually haunt me everywhere I look. I look out the window now, and I'll probably see one drive past.
Oh yeah, I remember being in an intersection in Aussie, and I could see 11 white Hiluxes.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that's what I want to do for hopefully the rest of 2020 is get to explore. I think that's all we'll be allowed to do is explore domestically, but check out a bit more of regional New South Wales and some of the fun places out there running.
Yeah, go on. What are your thoughts on the importance of the top 2 inches for athletes in ultra, and what do you do about
it? In what aspect are you talking about that?
The mental strength component in race execution.
Yep. So massively. I generally will have 3 plans for my clients for race day. You know, their ultimate goal, their like a little bit behind that goal, and then, oh God, stuff's gone real pear-shaped. And what to do if that does happen. So we have a spreadsheet that can dictate. I've built a spreadsheet that dictates all that sort of stuff. So we can put in the times on when they're going to get there. The biggest thing is making sure that they go out slowly and enjoy the process. I guess the biggest thing we see at UTA is people getting scared about getting caught up in stairwells and walking and all that sort of stuff. And
yes.
You have the hero that's trying to run past, but I prompt this to my clients that it's a blessing in disguise. It's time to get the heart rate down, settle in, maybe get some early nutrition in, check in where the body is, and then being able to run harder in the latest sections of the race.
So good.
It's always those ones that you see go out or trying to push through that you'll catch them later on. You'll definitely catch them later on. So in terms of the mental strength, we work on just different scenarios that might happen during the race. What happens if your partner isn't there at the aid station, or your crew member? What happens if things start to go pear-shaped during the race mentally, and what to do for that, and what to look out for. I think I learned this from Hanny, which when you start getting negative thoughts in the head, it's usually a drop in glycogen levels in the brain. So start to think, like, when was the last time I had some nutrition? Oh God, it was an hour ago. Oh, well, probably I need to have some sort of nutrition. And as soon as you have that nutrition, you start to feel good. And I started to study that a little bit more, and some of my clients previously who had dropped out at the aquatic center at UTA and why they dropped out and how they felt after. And they go, I actually felt not too bad once I had some food.
Yep.
It's always the way, isn't it?
And they probably could have kept going. So I always say, if you do come into a checkpoint and you're thinking about dropping out, just chill out for a little bit, have some food, let that digest, because you're probably going to come good. And it's probably a sign that you haven't taken on enough nutrition. So, we work on that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a difficult one, isn't it? It's like the Friday night party. If you do the safety spew, anyone that can come back from that and party on, they're the real winners, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Important question specifically, geography-based, because you're North Shore. A lot of people will want to know, boardies or budgies?
Oh, yeah, interesting one. Well, yeah, budgies.
Well, hey, that's the lifeguard coming through. That's what that is.
Well, funny enough, Budgie Smugglers was the brand Budgie Smugglers is just, the office is just like a K down the road. I know the boys who started it and why they started it, and it's becoming really popular. We actually got some made. I've got a men's running group that I started last year. We've got 80 guys involved in the group, and
wow.
We all got budgies with our logo on it. So
that's great.
Yeah, which is budgies.
That was an important question. I feel like that was an important question.
That was really important.
We asked Dave what superhero he wanted to be, but we just wanted to know what you're repping on the beach there. Yeah, Maddie's got an all-over tan. Favourite race? Where, if you could go and run in Australasia this year, imagine.
Australasia.
Where would you want to run? Where would you race?
If I could go back in time a few months, it would definitely be the old Ghost Road.
Ooh.
I've seen just so many good things about it. I'm actually just loading a lot of runs into RunHunters around the Abel Tasman region. I'm not sure if there's any races up around there, but that looks absolutely stunning as well. I think the old Ghosts Road is one I want to tick off.
Oh, you should definitely come over for it.
Yeah, man. Book out a little bit of time for that one. So you got a few days before and a few days after. The West Coast is pretty special. and we'll be there, so we get to hang out. We can ride bikes or do something. But
yeah, there's also a new trail that's just been built, the Paparoa, which is I don't know if you know Steve Bushby or Anne-Marie Cook, but they're hoping to host a race on it. It's oh gosh, off the top of my head, I want to say 56K. It's either 56 or 65Ks.
56.
And it's in a similar area, and it sounds amazing. So, yeah, hook that on to Old Ghost as well if you can.
Another one would be probably, again, both in New Zealand, would be the root burn.
Oh, yeah, that's
I don't know if that still
run.
goes ahead. I'm not sure if they still do that. But
the past few years, they've had a few issues with weather and it being cancelled. And then this year, there was a big slip. So the trail's been closed, but hopefully it'll be back. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done the full length.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's such a beautiful, like bang for buck. It's one of the most beautiful trails I've run. It's such a great,
Oh, we're in for a February tour. You definitely make the time. We'll get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've done just from Glenorchy to out maybe 10 Ks and back. There's like a lodge up on the hill.
Yeah, the rope and shelter, or just before that.
Oh, I think there was a helicopter landing pad.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, the falls. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, stunning.
I'm surprised, and I know it's in there, but you wanted to also say shot over, didn't you? You wanted to say that as well.
I've done it. Yeah, I've done it so many times.
You love it though.
I know. I hate it. I love it.
Oh, Ants! I hope Ants is listening. We'll.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's just it gets me back every time, but when I'm running it, I'm just like, why have I come back? Like, it sucks. It's so hard. Yeah. But I guess it's that challenge that I'm looking for.
Are you still doing training camps down there?
I haven't. No, not for some time. I'd love to, but it's just a timing thing. I just the time, as you know, time and effort to put into a training camp.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just turning up and flicking a switch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time and effort and preparation, and I do respect like guys like yourself that do these running camps, because I know it's hard to do and make profitable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's mostly done for love, because it's so nice to hit the trails with people in beautiful places, but it is. It's a lot of time involved in organising and responsibility, and permits, insurance, the list goes on. Yeah.
I don't know that people really fully appreciate that. It's kind of like, I think you're kind of an event director for a weekend, really, aren't you? And people always question how, events are costing so much to enter, yet we don't know a lot of event directors that are minted. They're barely getting by. And right now, many of them are, shutting up shop. So training camps fall into that basket very much.
Definitely.
I'm conscious we don't have too much longer.
Yeah, I've got to jump on another call, but
oh, do you?
Yeah, let's wrap up with one more.
Okay. I wanted to ask, where to from here? Like, what is Matty learning about or working on for the next kind of wee while? What's the area of interest for you?
There's probably two at the moment. Like I mentioned before, I started a men's running group last year, which is based around men's mental health, getting guys out of the pub and engaging in a healthy environment. And we run every Thursday, which we can't do at the moment, but we've been able to do virtually.
Cool.
So we've seen a massive influx of that. We run on a hill just near us, and at the moment, guys just write their name with chalk once they've been there, and it's fun coming up to the hill and just seeing who's been there before you.
Nice.
That's really awesome.
So that's probably one thing I really enjoy doing with that. Same with the app. The RunHunters app I've been building over for some time. We're looking to launch that globally soon. So a lot of time and effort has gone into producing that, with the main emphasis on getting people out running in exciting places. And we've seen that a lot here in Australia over the last kind of few weeks with COVID. People are just want to go out and explore a lot more, especially in the local area. And they're like, oh my God, I had no idea this was in my backyard. Like, no idea. And I've lived here all my life. So it's just giving people the inspiration and the tools to be able to do that.
Cool.
And then my online coaching just ticks along, and that's my bread and butter and what I enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
Racing, I'm not quite sure yet. I'm looking to potentially do an FKT in a few weeks.
Ooh, how about?
Well, I can't tell you where.
Ooh, top secret.
So keep an eye open for that. I actually can't. Yeah, I'm struggling.
Maddie just got about 50 followers on Strava just then.
Struggling to find any information on this one, but yeah, we're going to give it a crack. But other than that, I'm feeling good at the moment. Like I've been running really well lately. I feel like I've got a great balance with training and mindset and work. I'm signed up for UTA. I was going to do the 11 and the stair race, but depending on how things go over the next few weeks, I might step it up. I always do the 50K, but I can never get it right. I always end up in a heap in the valley every year, every single year.
It's a tough race.
Every time. Can't get it right.
I think the mindset there is people think I'm only doing the 50, so they give it horns and then realize that 50K is actually a bloody long way if you're going up and down stairs.
Yeah. You leave QVH just going, oh, I'm not good.
Yeah.
This is going to be a long 20K, not how I envisioned it. So
it's a long 20K anyway.
Let's let you go. I just wanted to ask before we close, how do people follow you or get in touch with you or inquire about coaching?
Yeah, I guess the best thing is to follow me on any social media platform, Matty Abel. I've got my business called DBARunners, which is my online coaching. And you can check out my website, which is DBARunners.com, I believe. Maybe AU, can't remember, but
I'll link it.
Google will find it.
I'll chuck this up on a quick blog post, and I'll link it in the Trail and Ultras Coaches Corner, and I'll link obviously DBA Runners and anything else important. Instagram, anything like that?
Yeah, just Matty Abel, DBA Runners, RunHunters, my men's running group. If you're in, we're starting to scale that up to be a bit more of a global run now. So Vipers Run Club, check that out. We're doing some cool things around the men's mental health and getting guys out active and enjoying running. So
good one.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Love it. Maddie, thank you so much for your time, buddy. I'll let you go.
Thank you.
All the best, and we'll catch you up in Katoomba in October, eh?
And we'll look forward to finding out the details about this FKT.
For sure.
Good luck.
Yeah. I'm nervous now.
Cheers, buddy.
Take care. See ya.
See ya.